that obviously reflects racism that went into those design choices.
Hey, what's up, folks? So flight cancellations and delays pile up after an FAA safety system outage in which thousands of flights have been delayed or canceled after the Federal Aviation Administration ordered a nationwide pause on domestic flight departures today. Apparently, the reason is the FAA system for alerting pilots and airports of real-time hazards called NOTAM, Notice to Air missions, went dark around 3:28 a.m., sparking safety concerns. What's interesting is the Notice to Air mission system they're talking about used to have a different name, but the FAA decided that the language we use in aerospace matters. We've begun to adopt gender-neutral and inclusive aviation terminology. I believe it used to be Notice to Air men. Now, Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transportation, is under fire because people are wondering if he's spending more time on pronouns and racist highways than he is actually building and protecting our infrastructure.
Or if an underpass was constructed such that a bus carrying mostly Black and Puerto Rican kids to a beach, or there would have been, in New York was designed too low for it to pass by, that obviously reflects racism that went into those design choices. I don't think we have anything to lose by confronting that simple reality, and I think we have everything to gain by acknowledging it and then dealing with it, which is why the Reconnecting Communities, that $1 billion, is something we want to get to work.
Now, it's nice to be nice, but having lopsided priorities is likely to collapse our civilization. And Joe Biden recently got caught taking classified documents after the huge scene Democrats threw when Trump had classified documents as well. But don't worry, CNN wants you to know with this graphic that it's totally different when Biden does it. Well, we'll read the article, we'll talk about it, and ask ourselves, will Merrick Garland crack down on Joe Biden in similar fashion as Trump? We'll see. Probably not. Thanks for being here. The show starts now.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. Yeah.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining today. Welcome to Dream Rare Podcast Live. And I want to say at the end, I'm going to do a special shout out to the top tier Patreon supporters, because without Patreon supporters and Facebook supporters and Super Chats and stars, this show wouldn't be here. So Patreon supporters and Facebook supporters, you guys are the real unsung heroes, MVPs of the stream. I want to give a few shout outs later, but the story of the day is the FAA canceled thousands of flights. I introed it. I don't want to repeat myself, so I'll just read on from that article. As of noon of this article being written by NPR, more than 6,988 flights into, within, or out of the country had been delayed, and just over 1,100 had been canceled altogether. A total of 21,464 flights were scheduled to depart U.S. airports on Wednesday, carrying 2.9 million passengers. Wow, that's crazy numbers. It's crazy how that whole industry works. But in general, I see in the comment section, a lot of people are speculating cyber attack or maybe a foreign country. I have no idea. All I do know is I'm going to just quickly say it again. The system that they use to basically alert pilots if there's some sort of emergency or weather hazard is the Notice to Air missions. It used to be called the Notice to Air men's. And this is the FAA on Twitter. I mean, this is just last year. They've been adopting gender neutral and inclusive. The same exact thing that failed is the same exact thing that they're more worried about the pronouns of it or whatever than they are the actual system functioning. And I have to say this real quick. In general, Pete Buttigieg is the guy, I guess the point guy at the transportation agency. He's the Secretary of Transportation. And I played that clip on the intro of him talking about racist highways and suggesting or theorizing. We'll call it a conspiracy theory because I don't know if it's proven. Pete Buttigieg is pushing these conspiracy theories about how when they constructed the highway, certain buses can't fit under certain things. And those buses are mostly Black and Puerto Rican people. So that means that the highway is racist. And the transportation director, he's not focused on, I'm sure he is focused on this as well. But it's like when you're so concerned with changing in a century-old saying to fit inclusivity, and you're worried about a highway being racist, and how much time can you really be spending on the things that matter, like the actual system itself? And I want to use the NBA because I used it yesterday as a quick example, but I want to explain myself because I know obviously the attacks of you're racist, you hate people, blah blah blah. I went to, I think it was Delta, or no, I'm sorry, United. I'll just read it real quick so I don't mess it up. I was about to fly on a United plane, and I saw this at the airport. Here it is. It's my screenshot. I can't show you, but I forgot to print it out. It says, "This is a story of an airline diversifying the skies." And they show two quote unquote minority women, because of course they would never show white women because most corporations in America hate white people for some reason. But they're talking about diversifying the skies. And I'm like, that's the most frightening thing I've ever seen. Not because I hate people or women or anything, just because I want the best people to do it. And natural diversity is when you just hire the best people. Fake left-wing destroy our civilization diversity is when you go out of your way to not pick the best people for the job and you just try to put an agenda in there. The NBA is the easiest thing for me to describe. It's not completely ethnically fair. There's a lot of all races. I mean, there's obviously a lot of black people in the NBA, people can see, but there are people from Europe like Luka Doncic. There are, island people. There are a few Hispanics, not very many. There's Jeremy Lin was like the only Asian that I've seen. I mean, Yao Ming, I guess there's been a few, but in general, no one really complains because the NBA, we want greatness. We don't care that LeBron James or Michael Jordan's black. We like it because we want the best. We don't want, 30% Asian just to make people feel good. So now we got to watch a crappier game. Everybody understands in real time that we just want the best to compete. And regardless of what race that is, that's how it goes. So just like the NBA isn't completely fair, also pilots don't seem to be completely, like, it's not like a game. It's not like a West, Hollywood or San Francisco, like LGBT nightclub where everybody, I'm saying, if you want to go do what you got to do, I'm just saying, like, this is flying a plane. Everybody, whether you're gay, black, white, Hispanic, don't you want the plane to land? That's true diversity. True diversity is being on a plane with all sorts of people. One guy's dressed up like a rabbi. One guy's dressed up like an imam. You know what I'm saying? There's a fat family over here, skinny family over here. That guy might be gay. Nobody knows. True diversity is everybody on the plane just wants the plane to land. If it's a white pilot, it's a white pilot. If that's the best, that's the best. No one cares. Everybody just wants to not die when they fly in the sky and have a somewhat decent time. So why in the world, if we understand in the NBA that we don't need to make everybody feel good, we just want the best players, why don't we understand that with every other aspect of life? It's all the same. People don't go into a restaurant and say, I want the crappier chef who makes the worst food, but because he's my color. Hey, if the Caribbean guy does it, it's the Caribbean guy. If it's a woman, I don't even know because I can't even see in the, it just make the food good. That's why I'm here. I want to eat something that doesn't taste like garbage. So every aspect of life, true diversity is we have 330 million people. Let the best people thrive. I got all sorts of messages from white pilots and people that were trying to be white pilots saying, I got discriminated back in 1999. They wouldn't let me take the course. They're going out of their way to kick me out of these positions, diversifying this, diversifying that, gender this, gender that. And somebody said on my comment section, because we have a nice crowd on Facebook, he said, essentially, anomaly, I don't understand, like, why can't we just make people feel good and use their pronouns? On a personal level, I feel it. I'm not trying to cause a scene everywhere I go. I always use this example, but one of the baristas that I've gone to, like, may or may not be transgender. I don't even know because I don't ask. I just look and it just like might just be someone like that's emo or something. I don't even know, but it doesn't like there is no conflict in my real world because they just give me the coffee and I say thank you and we treat each other with respect. There is no situation where it's like him, her. Oh, you called me by my right. That doesn't really exist in my world. Even if someone happens to be, I don't know what they are and I don't feel like asking because it doesn't matter to me. It's not that important. So in my personal life, I understand it's nice to be nice. But what people have to understand is in these industries, it's like San Francisco. I use that as an example. There's crap on the street. There's piss on the street. There's all sorts of needles on the street. It's not safe anymore. People are getting robbed in broad daylight. Nobody likes it. The prices are high. The city's going to hell. It's like a giant toilet bowl where you pay $4,000 for an apartment and it's not even nice. And they're focused on the pronouns. So that is where the problem comes in. Not that it's not nice to be nice. It's in their priorities are all screwed up. If you've been saying airmen for 100 years and there's maybe like 5% or 10% or 50% female pilots, can they just not use the word? They got to change the word. Okay, the word's changed. Well, now the computer's gone down. I'm not saying that's why, but I'm shocked that our society even functions because they're going out of their way in every major industry to try to replace white people people with just whoever. And I don't care if that happens naturally, but you have to understand none of this is natural when they're lowering the bar for certain people. And they don't care how great you are, if you're a certain Asian or white in the school system or white in a normal society. They're going out of their way to just push a fake diversity of not the best people, but lower qualifications for certain others. And it's just not good in any sense of the word. Let people compete just like they do in sports, just like they do in everything. Or we need to flip it the other way and say, I'm ready to just not literally destroy, but take it as you will. And NFL, NBA, let's just play into it. I think that's the way to destroy these leagues, because they're like, we need a female coach. We need a female this. Well, how many of the executives are, white or Jewish and they're not stepping down? It's like, why don't the white and Jewish executives say, hey, let's replace you with a transgender woman? Oh, no, not me, just you guys. Yeah, of course, you're not giving up, your position of the owner to some transgender lesbian woman because you want all the money and you just want all the little minions down there that it's like you guys play diversity, but I'm going to keep all the money and you're going to funnel it to me. It's like, let's replace the players then. Let's stop replacing the coaches. Lovie Smith gets fired from the Texans and it's racist. You don't hire a black coach, it's racist. You fire a black coach, everything's racist. Let's just play into it and be like, you know what? We need to take this diversity a step further at the NFL. We need 30% Asians on the field. We need 50% women. I want the NFL to be 50% women, not just at the coach session. I want all the executives to be like non-binary, two-spirited Native Americans. And I want all the players to be, and the whole legal collapse, because nobody's going to care about it anymore. Like they don't care about the WNBA. So it's like, maybe we need to give them a taste of their own medicine at the actual sports level and executive level, rather than them just play that with the rest of society. But it's like, well, why don't you do that with your team? How come your team's not that different? Well, we need to make money and we need to play. Or it's like, oh, yeah, it doesn't work. And it doesn't work because it's just not the way to optimal. If you have a room of 100 million people, you want to choose the best people for each position, really, and not focus on ethnicity. But they do that, and then they end up degenerating everything. And the last thing we want to do that to is our military, our air industry. Like, don't you just want to land? If there's a plane, a black guy, a white, don't you want to just land the plane? I'm sorry, I don't need a Native American, two-spirited, transgender, female, male pilot who got a diversity hire on the air. It's like, just stop. If that person is good enough to fly, they'll get their license just like everyone else. Nobody's stopping them. There's no laws on the book to stop you because you're this or that. So let them thrive in the system at place. I can't help but think that someone like Pete Buttigieg, who's going out of his way to stop racist highways and pronouns, the problem isn't that we don't want to be nice. The problem is it's not nice to ruin. Is San Francisco nice? Is that a nice place to live? Is it nice to get mugged in the middle of Beverly Hills? Does that feel nice to get robbed with a watch on because you're not even safe in the rich areas? Is it nice to pay $4,000 to have some homeless crackhead poop outside your street? Is it nice to get punched in the face by some guy, stealing a wallet from a grandma, like an Asian grandma? Is that nice? Is San Francisco nice? No, it's a disgusting hellhole city. And it's not because you can't be nice when you see someone of a certain pronoun. It's because when you focus on that, you get nothing. Focus on what matters. Focus on high quality pilots, high quality staffers, high quality military, the strongest people, the smartest people, and put them in the positions. Right now, this country is on a highway to hell with this stupid, like, everything else. They'll hire you just based on I'm a cow, I'm a trans, and I'm not trying to make fun of people. It's like, I'm a trans species. I'm a half cow. And they're like, well, you seem like a great Google employee. And there's like some Asian guy in the back. He's like, I'm the best coder in the country. They're like, well, sorry, we have too many Asians here, so we're really looking for a trans species. Sorry, dude. It's like, dude, what's the job? Is it a drag show in West Hollywood? Like, if it's a show where you want the best personality, but if it's a coding job, I don't think I should get a coding job just because I sound good on a podcast. Like, give it to the guy who, is antisocial, that's crushing, or not antisocial, whoever's the best. Can we go back to that? I'm shocked that things have worked out this well. So I'm not shocked that this type of stuff happens. And like, how long can you run a society where you're not focused on greatness? When's the last time somebody invented something great, or we're building great airports? You go around the world, even more socialist countries than us build better airports. Like, this country is in the wrong direction. So we have to really let people understand it's not a we're being mean thing. It's not nice to run a city like New York City, San Francisco, LA. It doesn't work because you're not focused on things that actually matter. Get crime down to an all-time low, stop the smash and grabs, clean up the streets, end homelessness, stop the price gouging, and then come around and talk about pronouns. But when you have Pete Buttigieg frolicking around and his main priority is like changing highways because he feels they're racist, it's so stupid. And it's also so demeaning. As someone who's a quarter or 1/8 Puerto Rican, I'm going to act 100% offended. But it's like, you think Puerto Rican people can't get under a highway that white people get under? Like, dude, just stop, bro. And there's people who eat this up that are black and Puerto Rican because it's like, oh, yeah, he's standing up against racism. Like, if white people can get under the bridge, black people can get under the bridge, unless we're going with this narrative, like black people are giants and like none of them are under 15 foot tall and they just keep hitting their head on the, oh, I can't get under this highway. Thank you for lowering it, or thank you for raising it, Pete Buttigieg. It's so demoralizing and demeaning. What? Because 90 years ago, there were black and Puerto Rican kids on a bus that couldn't get under a bridge. So now you got to change the highway because it's racist. I mean, what could possibly be more demeaning to minorities than having some gay white guy tell you that you can't get under the same bridge that a white person could get under? I mean, it's so pathetic. These people are just so cringe. And the second that this ends is the second people wake up from this like whole fake, cultural like left-wing delusion that's going on. People really got to crack out of this stuff. Because if we crack out of this stuff, you're not going to agree on every topic. Republicans are not right about everything, but we can at least get a real discussion about something going. Like, people got to get over this. Like, spend 4 years over a freaking racist bridge because Pete Buttigieg brainwashed you into thinking you can't get under the same bridge as white people. Just stop, dude. Such a fraud. Second story of the day is apparently there were classified documents found by Joe Biden. Oops, Joe Biden made an error. He makes a lot of errors, but here's what the CNN, they put out this whole little thing of like political consequences. So they want you to know that it's totally different when Biden does it. So apparently Biden took 10 documents, Trump took 325. Some were top secret. Out of Trump's 60 were top secret. I like how they say 60 were top secret under Trump, and under Biden, some. Like, what does some mean? I guess like a couple. Biden cooperated. Trump is under investigation for obstruction. They don't even say Trump did obstruct. They just said he's under investigation for it. It's like lawyers found and alerted archives for Biden, and for Trump, archives were first reached out to Trump lawyers. The wording of that's so confusing too. It's like they're trying so hard to pretend like Biden's is different. They're like, for Biden's, the lawyer found and alerted the archives. For Trump's, the archives first reached out to Trump lawyers. Like, okay. So I guess it's okay if, I guess Trump took 60 top secret documents, but Biden only took like 4, and that makes it okay. Let's see what they're saying. Not because we believe them, just because you learn a lot, and they're the ones who broke this story. CNN says Attorney General Merrick Garland has received a preliminary report of the documents inquiry, a law enforcement official said, or source said, and now faces the critical decision on how to proceed, including whether to open a full-blown criminal investigation. So I guess Merrick Garland's deciding whether to open a full-blown investigation or not on Biden. I'm guessing he won't do that because I don't think it's in his best interest, but we'll see. John Lausch Jr., the U.S. Attorney for Chicago, has briefed Garland multiple times. No additional briefings are scheduled, but would be conducted if necessary. The classified documents that Biden had were dated between 2013 and 2016, according to the source familiar, which is before, I guess he was vice president at the time. They were found in 3 or 4 boxes, also containing unclassified papers that fall under the Presidential Records Act. Ooh, this is scary. I mean, Biden had unclassified documents for almost a full decade. I mean, that's got to cost for something. How come it took them so long to figure it out? Maybe they didn't really care before Trump took some, but whatever. I guess some of them had to do with Ukraine. I saw on here. I don't want to bore you with this boring CNN article, but that's the story. Apparently, Biden had classified documents from when he was vice president. Someone said, who cares? I guess the reason it matters is because the FBI raided Trump's Mar-a-Lago thing and just threw all his stuff all over the place. because he had classified documents. But when Biden does it, are they going to go through all this stuff and throw it all around? And also, I mean, I think maybe a more important angle of the story is this isn't like a new document that Biden took afterwards. Those classified documents were always there. So those classified documents were sitting there that Biden had apparently illegally while they're raiding Trump's Mar-a-Lago. You know what I'm saying? They're raiding Donald Trump for having classified documents. Meanwhile, Biden had classified documents for a decade. And obviously people are saying, well, has Obama, like, I don't know enough about politics and law to really know about this, but did they even care about this type of stuff before Donald Trump took them? Or is this like a new thing that they're just pretending to care about that every president does, and it's like quasi legal? I think a lot of people know the answer, and that's the story. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I think it's good that Biden got caught doing that, because now, hopefully they'll get a taste of their own medicine or back off. Because for the record, by the way, as critical as I am of Trump, I think he sold out to pharma. I talk about it all the time. I want him to, if he loses the election, to say Rand Paul or Ron DeSantis. I'm not saying he's going to, but if he does, I want him to lose based on that. I don't want left-wingers to stop him from running or impeach him, or, it's like, just stop with that stuff. That you tried so hard, you got nowhere. You're just wasting our time. And when Democrats waste our time, they control the narrative. They turn every right-wing influencer just defending against it. And it just creates this whole like waste of time. We're not building anything great. We're not growing as a nation. We're just wasting time. Like, they took 4 years for Donald Trump's tax returns. His tax returns are not even that bad. It's like, they're so upset. You're so stupid. There's so much bad stuff going on in this country, and you guys want to waste 5 years of our time over his tax returns. So, if Donald Trump is to not be the nominee, it's got to be the will of the people. It's got to be because Ron DeSantis or someone else did a better job to convince people he's better. I don't want him taken out of the race because of his taxes or his, the classified documents. So, I'll always have his back if it's the right thing to do, because if he loses, I want him to lose fair and square, not because some Democrat losers are afraid of him or they're tired of him. That's not the fake democracy republic that they pretend we have. All right, I want to do some shout outs, and then I'll read some of your comments. Let me know what you think about the first story. Do you think it was like a foreign hack? Do you think the computer just crapped the bed? Do you think it's natural? Do you think Pete Buttigieg is responsible? Let me know what you think, but I want to do some shout outs. So real quick, as I always say, Facebook supporters and Patreon are the unsung heroes. Without that, I really wouldn't be able to continue at the rate I'm doing. I'd be cutting it a lot closer. So I just want to say thank you to the top people on Patreon. The top people are Alexander and Caven. I'm not going to read last names just for privacy reasons, but thank you guys. You guys have been like the top tier for a couple years. You're definitely the realest MVPs of all. So thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Caven. Flynn is next tier. Thank you, Flynn, for all of your time. Dale, Jimbo, Rachel, Rhonda, Anna, Archie, Bob, Camilla, Candy, Denise, Donna, Jason, Karen, Martin, Mary. Thank you guys. And then I got a few more. Hold on, this paper's kind of stuck. They're trying to not let us win out here, folks. Thank you, Miss Carol. Appreciate you a lot. NHI, Win. Thank you. Sorry, it was hard to say your name. Patrick, Randolph, Rhonda, Sal, Sheila. Thank you guys. And last but not least, everybody that's part of the gold or silver tier on Patreon. Alethea, Arts and Music. Thank you. Austin, Chaos Coach, Kelly, Intro View, Jimmy, V, Lori, Will, Eric, Jacob, and Maria, and Michelle. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it. And thank you for being part of the gold or silver tier. And thank you to everybody on Facebook. I can't see the stars exactly anymore. Facebook's going through some sort of like, meta transition. Like, they're going from like Creator Studio to Meta Suite. So every time I log in, it's like, warning, it's changing any day. So it's hard for me to really function with Facebook. So hopefully the Meta Suite that they're rolling out is like user friendly, so I could actually read your super chats and do stuff again. But I use a separate platform to stream to Facebook and YouTube, and I see YouTube super chats, but I can't really see the stars. So hopefully Meta figures that out. Someone said Meta pause. That's funny. Yeah, they're just like updating their system, but it's taking forever. I think one thing I want to say with social media, I understand a lot of people don't like Elon Musk because of his like transhumanism and his Neuralink. Some people don't like him because of his like carbon tax stuff. And some people don't like a lot of things about him, But I have to say this as the CEO of Twitter, like Elon just put on a clinic to show what happens if you actually care about the right things. Like Elon says, whether you like him or not, he says that like leftism, liberal, like modern day, not like 10 years ago, but like modern day, like left wing hive mind. Elon calls it a mind virus, and he says that mind virus is the biggest threat to this civilization, which is, I mean, true. It's a bold statement, especially for someone like Elon in the left wing tech world. But he's totally right, where it's like that it's so bad because it destroys everything to the point where nobody does anything. Within a month or two of running Twitter, Elon brought back thousands of accounts, a lot of people that I like. I mean, he didn't bring back Kanye. He didn't bring back Owen Benjamin. There's a few people he didn't bring back, and it sucks. But he did bring back hundreds of people. At least he went in the right direction somewhat. He's actually running it, like making it user friendly, getting money for Twitter, like letting you post longer videos, giving blue check marks to people, which is a brilliant strategy. At first, I was like, that's stupid. It's confusing. But before Elon gave blue checks to everybody who bought it, you used to look at these loser journalists like they were important, right? Like, oh, this Huffington Post reporter, like she had 3,000 followers. Nobody cared about her. But for some reason, it felt bigger because she had the blue check mark and no one else did. So what Elon did by giving everyone a blue check mark, he took the power away from the journalist class and all these loser mainstream media shows. And now it's like you don't look at the random account any different than you look at the journalist because of that. So that was a brilliant strategy to really normalize the field of journalism and give power back to the people. And just like seeing the features and stuff he's doing, where Facebook, I'm not knocking it. I mean, they've been very great to me, but also they censor too much. Like, I mean, it's like, it's a mess. Like all their systems are a mess because it's probably all these like, let's focus on liberalism and left wingism and let's ban anybody who tells the truth or, so it's like, how's the company going to compete with TikTok and all these other ones? Like Facebook and Instagram are still huge, but at a certain point, the left wing mind virus just destroys it because you're so focused. I mean, I personally think that Facebook, even though it's still kind of crushing on a lot of metrics, they banned like so many people. It's like you got all these people from like 40 to 60 that are using Facebook and you're banning them for a comment. You're giving them a 30-day. Like why are you doing that? It doesn't even make sense. Like, don't you want to have good employees in space? So like, I'm like, I find some like lady who's like, oh, I got banned for 30 days for like leaving a comment on a thing. And she showed me the comment. I'm like, that's not like almost like they have AI bots or like blue haired leftists just like banning. That's potential revenue. That's people that are using your platform and making it powerful. I mean, I got banned from TikTok, so I mean that sucks, but I understand. But yeah, I just I have to give credit to Elon, not as like a anything besides just like the CEO of Twitter. He's doing a good job, and I think showing what could be done if people focused on what mattered instead of like left wing hive mind brainwash. It's interesting. All right, I'm gonna read a few comments and then we'll keep this under 40 minutes. Someone said the beast is kicking all over the place while it's falling from heaven. Someone said meta means death. Facebook self-prophesized. I've heard that that's true. I haven't looked it up, but people keep posting that. Anomaly, my thoughts on the central bank digital currency could be tied to grounding of aircraft. I don't know anything about that being tied to the grounding of the aircraft, but I don't know. It's definitely not what you want because without the airlines and the computers, you want to think that they have foolproof ways of running those. I mean, especially when you fly, because flying's safer than driving. It just seems scarier, but it's safe. And, a lot of these things are run by computers. So I can't say it's tied to the central bank currency or anything like that, but it's just not a good sign. And I don't wish anything for America. I want this to thrive, but I'm shocked that this type of stuff hasn't happened sooner, just based on everything they're doing, like diversify the skies. Natural diversity occurs when you have a test and you let the best pilots thrive. And if the best pilots happen to be 95% white males, that's just what it is, because there's other industries where that's not true. There's going to be other industries that has more black people. There's going to be other industries that have more Asian people. And, Jordan Peterson really rose the ranks of fame and success by perfectly explaining this phenomenon. I think this is probably one of the better things he's done when he weighs into politics and stuff. I mean, sometimes he's a little off, but what he really nailed was opportunity of outcome, or what is it? Opportunity versus outcome. Basically saying if you give everybody the choice, the equal choice to go do something, everybody's not going to choose the same thing. It's natural. Women are going to have a tendency to go to different fields, and men, like, nobody's trying to diversify the guys that have to climb 1,000-foot pole to fix a power line. Let's diversify that. It's a lot of white dudes, and there's other dudes too, but it's like a lot of men. You know what I'm saying? Let's just stick to men here. Let's do 50% women. Don't they want to climb up a power line and risk their life? Oh, they don't want to do that? Why is there no push to diversify those jobs? Because it's all fake. It's all anti-man and anti-white. It's like that. Okay, let's be fair. Okay, we'll diversify the skies. We'll diversify the NBA. We'll diversify the power line for women. They don't want to diversify anything. They just want to kick men out of jobs and white people out of jobs. That's just the truth. And Asian people out of school. I mean, statistically, they're not diversifying everything else. But anyway, Jordan Peterson explained where it's like giving people the equal opportunity does not mean everybody's going to have the equal outcome. Certain people will thrive. Certain races will tend to go to certain fields. And to be honest, that's okay. It's okay that, if there's more Asian or Indian coders, that's okay. Like, you don't got it. White people don't have to do everything, and black people don't have to do everything. But there's going to be a black coder, and there's going to be an Asian person in the NBA. There's just not going to be as many, and that's just natural. You could probably, like, if China wants to train all their kids to be like, and every Asian American wants to train to be an NFL player or NBA player, I bet you'll see more, but it's never going to be exactly equal, because that's just the way things are. I mean, I want to be a professional tennis player, but I'm not, because I didn't put in the work and I didn't work hard enough. I think I have the athletic ability to be good, but I don't know. It's like, don't give me the position. I didn't work for it. I didn't earn it. Maybe if I worked as hard as I could, maybe I could have never got there. I'll never know, but it's like, me. I want it's like that work, dude. Just like everybody else. It's equal opportunity does not mean equal outcome. And I think Peterson was like brilliant in his way of explaining that. And it's true. Or else let's diversify the power lines. You don't want women climbing up 20,000 feet thing. It's not, they don't want to do that. Let me see. Won't be any basketball players. Well, yeah, I mean, you look at the league and there's no real push. Like, it's just like, yeah, the best players play, but you peasants down there, you play these little games, but we're not going to play them. But you play them, and the CEOs and the owners are not playing them. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I hate to bring this up again, but I actually really don't, because I think it's interesting. I apologize. Like, if you look at like music executives, as Bryson Gray pointed out and Ye pointed out, a lot of them are Jewish. I would say most of them are Jewish. That's okay. I don't want their position. I don't know what it took to get there and how much work they put in. I'm not trying to take the position from them, but let's just say a lot of these left-wing Jewish executives are pushing diversity on normal people, right? We need to be more diverse, basically just like anti-white stuff. Like, we need to just get rid of white people and men and, do all this stuff. Okay, then why don't you do it? It's like, okay, if that's how you feel, if you want to get rid of men and why, like, in the power structure, why don't you guys all step down and let a black woman run, Sony? You'll let a black woman get to this position, but you won't let a black woman get to your position. So how come there's no diversity among the executives? Because the men that are there don't want to share that position. They just want to let the minions below them be like, you play these games. Like, well, you play the game too, right? If you're pushing the game onto society and you're profiting off the exploitation and the death of black people and basically pushing gang culture into the black community so they kill each other, and you're making billions of dollars off that, but when someone points it out, you cry anti-Semitism, that's a little weird. It's not to blame all people, of course, but it's like the diversity only exists among the peasants, not of the executives, not on the CEOs, not the owners of the NFL. They're not diversifying, and certainly not in the game, because there's too much money on the game. So they're not trying to play what would happen if 50% Asian people played in the NBA. It only exists on the level of workers. And, it doesn't exist for the tough jobs, for the people that risk their lives every day, whether it's the coal mine. Should we do 50-50 women and men in coal mining? No, people are not. They don't care. Where are all these executives pushing diversity in coal mining or in electric work on big buildings where people have to climb up? It's not. It's BS. So it needs to be called out. There needs to be a mirror raised to these people, and enough people definitely have to snap out of the mind virus because it's like obviously there's too many people that are falling victim of this fake culture, and it's totally not only wrong, it's I'm not going to use the word racist because that word's overplayed, but it's like it's demeaning when you tell a black or a Puerto Rican person that they can't drive under the same bridge as a white person. How lowly do you think of that person? Like they can't get under the bridge. Like what does that even mean? Or this narrative that I've been seeing in left-wing circles and some libertarian circles, but it's a lot of like left-wing ideology where they make excuses for the crime and the murder and the robbery in certain neighborhoods, like as if being poor makes you a bad person. See, I flipped the narrative where I'm like, you might say I'm racist or use all these words that mean nothing now because you overuse them. But I don't look at somebody just because they're black or just because they're in a lower class neighborhood. I don't think that makes you a bad person. I think there's evil billionaires. So it's like there's so many people now making excuses for the murder and the bloodshed in certain black neighborhoods, like as if that's all they can do or something. And I mean, to me, that's more quote unquote racist than just saying, hey, snap out of it. You can do it. Of course you can. Millions of people have before. Millions of people have before the 1950s and 1960s and all these policies came in. Families were together. The culture was stronger. The music industry was pushing a better message. Like it's definitely possible. It's happened before. It could happen again. I'm the one there saying that like you're not bad or evil or terrible just because you're poor. That doesn't make any sense to me. You go to a poor neighborhood, they'll give you better candy on Halloween than a rich neighborhood. I mean, some people with no money are some of the most gracious people on earth. But for some reason, the narrative is, oh, let's just make excuses for all that happening because they're this race or they have this much money. And that's left wingers telling you that they think poor people and certain races are actually like not capable of not killing someone, which is insane, So reframing the narrative is important because like everything they do is a lie and it's destructive and it's harmful. And it's, as we know, the opposite of like Tony Robbins or Gary Vee or any like life coach or motivational person. Like, do they say like make excuses, use the patent? No, they say don't you make excuses. Like, you have to go over hurdles. You have to trials and tribulation. I was talking to somebody the other day about like Armenian people. Armenians have gone through a lot, the Armenian genocide being the obvious thing. But like, do you ever hear Armenians be like, oh, we got like, of course they talk about the Armenian genocide. Don't get it twisted. They love to bring that up, but they don't use that as an excuse to why they can't succeed. They don't say, well, we got genocided like within the last 100 years and we didn't speak the language and we came to this country and we had no money. They still make it happen because that's what it takes to make it happen. Yes, you could talk about history, but you can't use your history as an excuse. You need to use it as a motivational factor. So only in certain ethnic groups is it okay to just never do anything and rise to the ranks and use it as an excuse. There's plenty of oppressed groups and people that have been killed and enslaved that have come out of it and use that as motivation to start crushing. But the mindset is being pumped into the heads of millions of kids now and calling them a minority, which is like, in my opinion, a demeaning term because what are you a minority? Like, yeah, everyone's a minority if you're just you as an individual, but you say, well, yeah, I'm black, but I'm an American. Well, in America, Americans are the majority besides the illegals that aren't part of us. You could be part of the majority if you just reframe your narrative or say like, you're also a minority on a global scale, or you're a minority because like you're an individual. So they pump into your heads like you're back against the wall. You're not part of this group. You're so different. You're so small. You're so weak. And then they pump the weak mentality into the heads like you can't succeed. It's not possible. You need white people. You need the government. You need social justice. And then it's weakening people's minds. And then because they've been brainwashed into that sort of narrative, and then they're told, well, if you don't have money, it's okay to murder. And if you are this color, it's okay that this happens in your community. Where in other groups, they'd be like, it's not okay. I don't care if you got $1 or $1 million in the bank account. And it's not even a money thing. Because I would say if you look at the crime rate and the murder rate and also the jail rate of rich rappers, of people that are still pushing this narrative, they get in just as much trouble as the poor people. It's not like they get tens of millions of dollars and all of a sudden their troubles go away. When you live that type of lifestyle, you get in trouble. Tekashi 6ix9ine went to jail. Young Thug is in court right now. Multiple rappers, in that community have been attacked. It's like, it's not like they're above it just because they have more money. That's a fake narrative created by the left wing. Well, if you're poor, then you get in trouble. Then how come these rappers with $50 million are getting in the same type of trouble? Because it's the mindset, it's the actions, it's the mentality, and it's how you live your life. And they're not living right, and they're not, doing moral things, so they get immoral outcomes. So that's like, this left-wing narrative of all this stuff needs to be shattered for the good of everybody to be able to, succeed, as opposed to just like stay in a rut and tell, have Pete Buttigieg, gay white guys, come around and say, oh, I'm gay, so I'm a minority just like you, and these highways are race. Like, you think any person that's Black or Puerto Rican has ever thought, what the problem is in this country? The racist highways. It's so demeaning that a highway, I'm not capable of driving on the same highway as white people. When does that happen within our lifetime, where there's a road that only certain people can drive on? And if someone has a truck or a bus that's big or small, a white person could drive a bus, a Black guy could drive a bus, a Black woman could drive a bus. Like, and if you need a smaller car, also these groups can drive smaller cars. Like this idea, these losers like Pete Buttigieg was pushing this narrative that only certain races can fit under certain bridges is just like the most pathetic of the pathetic. Like, besides the article I saw the other day that said that DMT elves, I guess like the drug DMT, if you smoke it or whatever you do, some people see elves or something, like they get so high they just like trip out and see elves. The DMT elves are racist now. That's like a real article being pushed by some like little think tank thing or something. It's like, dude, we got to really talk about this crisis in our country. The DMT elves are racist. It's like, do you want to just keep doing DMT to go to the DMT world to like tell the elves they're racist or something? Like, how are you going to solve this complex issue of a, possibly not even real hallucinogenic elf, and his like racial bias? Like, how in the world can you do that? And the thing is too, I think, I don't know, because I've never done like actual DMT like that, but like, I think it's like a real ego crushing experience. So whether you're Black or white or Asian or a woman or man, whatever, like it's supposed to be like an ego crushing experience. So it takes a lot of things that maybe, and so maybe if there's certain like left wing Black activists, maybe that's like their ego experience is like putting everything, it's what it does to, I'm sure, white people and everyone. I don't think the drug discriminates. I just think it's like certain ones are supposed to make you like happy. Like you drink alcohol, you're supposed to get like happy, but like certain like mescaline or, like you're supposed to go through or whatever it's called. Like, I don't know if it's called peyote or what's the one, like ayahuasca. It's supposed to be like a bad experience, but a good experience. Like it's supposed to like crush your ego and then you come out of it a better person. It's like, it's traumatizing for everyone who takes it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like ayahuasca is like, oh, look, a Puerto Rican guy, like, let me make him feel like garbage. Oh, white dude, let me put him around 1,000 white women naked. Like, I don't think that's how the drug works, but we can lie to ourselves and say it is. Maybe there is some sort of ethnic component to the drug. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but it's just my personal opinion on it. Someone said, I'm 41, about to be 42 this year. Got my birth year tattooed on my arm. How old are you and what time is it? What are you trying to get my birthday tattooed on you? You don't have to, but happy birthday if it is your birthday. If not, replay this on your birthday and it'll be accurate. Someone said impeach Trump for this. Absolutely not. And I know they're going to try to like impeach Biden too, but first of all, it's not going to pass. Second of all, just win the next election, please. I don't like Biden. I don't know, like the impeachment games. It's in my opinion, a waste, not only a waste of time, but I'll just say it. Big Pharma is controlling our nation. The food quality, we're not doing anything great. Our military is being weak. Like, there's all these things going on in our country. I mean, impeach. It's just like it's like a uniparty distraction where it's like you have the left one. We're going to impeach Donald Trump. Then they don't use their brains. They don't come together on anything. They don't care about anything. Let's just talk. Just win the next election. And same with, I know Marjorie Taylor Greene wants to impeach Biden. It's like, please just win the next election. There's so much uniparty BS going on. The Republicans failed us in 2020. The Democrats are failing us now. Let's talk about the failures and let's correct the failures. Let's not go back and forth for 40 years saying impeach, 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 impeach. You both suck. Both parties suck. So, okay, let's address it and then let's get at it. I understand that some people want to do that because they don't like Biden, and some people want to do that because they don't like Trump. But to me, it's a uniparty distraction, just like the Russia collusion, just like Trump's classified documents. Anything they can do to take our energy and focus away from what they're doing to us and create this little proxy war narrative that whether you win or lose that discussion, you're still in their world. You're still not getting to like high level banking stuff or big pharma. You're just fighting between the two characters that they place there. And I know it's always like, oh, well, this time's going to be different and this time's going to be different. It's like they've been doing that for 40 years. They did it with Bush. They did it with Obama. They did it with Trump. Now they have Biden. They're going to keep doing it. But the best politician is the one who makes you think they're not one. And Biden has people hate Trump so much. Oh, Biden's going to save me. Trump's going to, it's like impeach, collusion, classified. Like, okay, figure that stuff out. But can we please talk about things that never get done? And I have a question too. When Republicans control all this stuff, if this country is truly merit-based and, race doesn't matter, how are all of these universities, and I don't know because I'm not a legal expert, but it's like, how are they getting away with discriminating against white people and Asians so much? How is that even legal? And why don't Republicans do something about it and put in actual merit-based stuff when they get in? Is it not possible? Is it unconstitutional? I'm not really sure, but next time they get back in power, I think that's got to be somewhat of a priority where it's like, listen, let's actually focus on having the highest quality people have these jobs. No discrimination, because when you say no discrimination, but then you constantly discriminate against men or white people or Asians or whoever it is for the job, that's not no discrimination. So is that ever going to get addressed by Republicans? Like, they act like they never had office or they never had all three branches or they never had the presidency. They literally just did, like just a couple of years ago, they had power, but they used it to shovel money to big pharma. They have executive order power too. I'm not saying they should use it all the time, but they use executive order power to give big pharma money, but they can't stop the discrimination in this country against certain people. I don't understand it. Appreciate you guys. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Real quick before I end, I want to say a few things. Thank you so much to everybody at Patreon, patreon.com/raretalk. It's gone down quite a bit over the last year, but it's still really important, and I appreciate everybody there. Thank you for supporting on there. These are the unsung heroes that really, like, every first of the month I get that, and it's important, definitely, because by the way, like most people you see, even people with smaller audiences than me, they have all sorts of people working for them. They have producers, they have people booking, they have this. Like everybody I reach out to gives me the booking person or this person. They got a whole team. I don't have a team. Every day you see my intro, I make the intro. It takes me about 30 to 45 minutes. I print stuff out. I do all this myself. So I put in a lot of work. I do more work than most people who have a 7-person team. I talked to someone yesterday. They said, how many shows a week you do? Because they're looking for like sponsors for me. And I said, 5 to 7 usually. And they're like 5 to 7. Like there's people with full teams of like 10 people that can't even work as hard as me or get out as much stuff. So, I do appreciate the support because I'm definitely not lazy and I definitely don't squander it. So, well, I try to do my best at least. I'm not perfect, but I work hard. So thank you so much to everybody on patreon.com/raretalk. Thank you to everybody doing a Facebook subscription. I'm probably going to push that link more because Facebook actually, I think, keeps 0% of that. So they've been giving 100% for over the last couple of years, which has been clutch. Say what you want about Facebook, but that's been great for me because I have 1.6 million people there. Thanks to everybody with the stars, the super chats, and signing up to my free email list, stayintouchwithme.com, the podcast, Dream Rare Podcast. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And I'll be back soon. Thanks for the chat today. And I pray that, especially with the airlines, it's like one thing we all have in common. Every gender and race and creed is that when we go up in the air in an airplane, we want to land safely. That's natural diversity and natural unity. That's the American. Actually, that's a worldwide thing. It's not like Muslims or Asians in China or they're like, oh, I don't like. Everybody wants the plane to land. Everybody wants the best pilot. So let's stop playing games, Pete Buttigieg. Just pick the best people, and you'll see natural diversity. And in certain areas, you'll see a lopsided patterns, but that's okay, because that's just how things work. And everybody is okay with it for this situation. All right. Have a good one, guys.